game that on the face of it, apart from Michael Johnson, everything looked okay, but you never know. Early in the season, things had come out worse than you thought. Did you have a bit of an inkling about Luke McFarlane's need that maybe there was going to be some other things filtrate out?
No, but an inkling. The fact that he's injured, so I don't think we have to worry about what I was thinking post-game. He certainly got a bit of a medial. We put a time frame on it, but as always, if they can hit KPIs earlier, for example, Michael Wilders is 2 weeks ahead of where we thought he'd be, so hopefully it can happen with those sort of guys as well.
So it's maximum 4 weeks.
Who's that?
With McFarlane.
No, I don't think it's a maximum minimum. There's all guidelines from the historical rehabilitation of those types of injuries, so if I had my way, I'd try and get him up this week. But I didn't see our website or whatever, but I think they're saying 2 to 4 weeks, something like that. So, but it can be earlier and it can be longer, depending on, you can run into all sorts of obstacles in rehabilitation. So, but our aim is to get them up as quick as possible. And we'll miss those guys, but we're certainly really confident that we can fill the breach and play some pretty good footy.
You mentioned last week about Silvani being unlucky and disappointed. Is he one logical replacement?
Yeah, he is really obvious, I reckon. You would think he's just basically going to play. I think Richmond, they lost Vickery, but they got Edwards kicking lots of goals into twos, and Hamstrung who could come in, and so structurally they might go a bit smaller, but Alex played on the Murdochs and that against Geelong, so he can handle tall and small, and so he's basically in, Alex. Yeah. I've got to go to match committee today, so it's hard for him to preempt it, but you're right, it's very logical.
And what sort of group are you looking at for the second replacement?
Yeah, well, again, we're going to have match committee. We've got our opposition analysts is over, going to take us through, but we've got a number of players in really good form. It appears anyway, at waffle form, although coming off a 2-week break. So, there's Crozier, Taberner, everyone I spoke about post-game. Clancy Pearce started really well and then faded a little bit. And, we've had Brady Gray emergency, but because he hasn't played for 2 weeks. So Cole Sylvia's down there, Anthony Morabito's down there. We've got a bit to work through about the composition of our team and based on what we think we're going to come up against. So, and then we'll have to take probably a couple of travelling emergencies because it's so far away if anything goes wrong. So we've got a little bit to work through yet. Our major session's tomorrow, and I have learned until you get through that, it's a major hurdle to get over because you can lose them.
Luke, just looking out there, that appears to be most of last week's team plus Jacob Ballard. Is he in the mix? Is there anything?
Yeah, no, I love your enthusiasm. He just he played really well, and he's been a pleasant surprise for us. So he had a big corky. He didn't do much. We had a training session yesterday where all the guys from Peel trained because they could, but he was held back, so he needed to do a little bit more today.
Just on Anthony, I know you've asked the question a number of times this week. You've also said that he might need to do a little bit more. Can you
You're preempting my response.
Yeah.
Very good. He's under serious consideration. So there'd be two things. Anthony would be the first to know, and you guys would be second. And I'd ring Vince. He might be second, and you guys might be third. But look, it's a really serious discussion because first and foremost, our obligation is to win games of football and pick the best possible team. So if Romance was to purely come into it, he would play this week. But our objective is the 4 points. So is Anthony going to help us or not? Is he the best chance? And is he ready? So we're going to work through all of that. And again, he's still got to get through the last session tomorrow anyway, like all the others. So, but it is really exciting, Sage. I thought he jumped the level on the weekend. It was as well as I've seen Anthony play this year, and clearly since I've been here. So, it's really exciting, but he's working really hard. We've been banging in extra work to him and actually flattening him out a bit for the waffle. So I plan to load him heavily because he's still trying to make some ground up on the others, and he's gaining it inch by inch, and that's the way it's done. So he's getting reward for work. I'm sure if you ask Anthony, he goes, I'm ready and I want to play this week. But he's like the others. He goes through a selection process based on our objective of winning the game.
Ross, just your reaction to the Hayden Valentine thing. Are you pleased that they sent it straight to the tribunal, obviously, with that?
Yeah, I am. And and I was on 6PR on Monday night, and the MRP, the two hard basket, it certainly wasn't a slight at them, but they haven't got much room to move. So they clearly made a judgment that it doesn't really fit the parameters they get to work in. I think it really talks to, if there's going to be a review, that they need some flexibility in their gradings and interpretations, I think. So as much as I think they may have wanted to say he was contesting the ball, like the decision that's been made, they haven't got the scope for that, I think. So therefore they did the right thing and referred it to the tribunal. And my personal opinion, there was no malice. It was purely competing for the ball. You've been, since under 10s, you get in between your opponent and the ball, you move them and you get after the ball. So certainly it was at the aggressive end of that, but the intention was to compete for the ball. And that's what we coach our players on. If you make the ball your object, you'll be okay. And everyone saw it that way, so I'm pleased for Hayden. But more importantly, I'm pleased for AFL football. You know.
Would you like to see the match review panel parameters change going forward then, or just for them to use?
Well, I think it's self-evident that they're a bit hamstrung and they're a bit uncomfortable dealing with these sort of situations where there's a perceived bump involved, but it's competing for the ball. I think their hands are tied. But it might be the right way. If it doesn't fit the parameters, refer it to the tribunal, because it might be the right way to go. So we're all just looking for some consistency of interpretation, wherever it be, at the MRP, at the tribunal. And I think over the last few appearances, the tribunal, the benefit, if you didn't have an alternative, has gone the player's way, as opposed to a hard and fast, regardless of any circumstance, you're out. So I think common sense is now prevailing a little bit,
Ross,
which is really good.
Depending on how hard your head is, because if...
Now you're going to talk to outcome. So,
but if I look at Buddy Franklin, if the one he did, the guy didn't get up and stretch it off, or if Yench just got straight up and ran away, Hayden would have had nothing to worry about. It seems
yeah,
to be
well,
almost
yeah.
how hard you're...
I'm not too sure. I mean, they talk...
Probably what I'm saying is the clarity. I'm still confused. I'm still...
Yeah, well, okay. Well, I think it helps at the minute what's occurring. But there's no confusion. They just spoke about interpretation of force. So if it's negligible force, you don't get cited. So that was the interpretation. I'm not here to make any judgments on whether that's right or wrong. I mean, it's not my job.
Is there a danger that if it does keep getting referred to the tribunal, that it could become quite a big nuisance to clubs, almost on a regular basis, having to...
Well, incidents are going to occur. We're all human. We're all going to be actioning things, and they always don't come how you want, and there's lots of grey area in AFL footy, so everything's open for interpretation. So when you need clarity, you know, we've got the right mechanisms in place that everyone gets a fair hearing. So there's been an appeal process with Viney, it's gone to the tribunal here, there's MRP. I think the mechanisms on the surface seem to be working quite well, but it's been a difficult issue for all involved, because let's take it back to the intention. The intention is to look after players' health and safety with concussion. So it's a great goal to have, and it's a really honourable objective and an important one, because we want the young Oz kickers playing our game. So let's not get too flippant with why it's in and lose sight of it. So the intention's really healthy, the aim for our game's really healthy, but at the highest level there's some grey areas, and we're all working through that.
Ross, Sam Kekovich has been pretty outspoken in his Herald Sun column about Paul Roos and the Queen's Birthday game, saying if Roos wants to oversee that crap, why not buy a chessboard where he and Ross Lyon can bore each other to death?
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to say to Sam? Or
No, I love his lamb ads. He's terrific. Hey? I thought he promoted lamb.
What about...
He clearly wasn't at Subiaco on the weekend when we basically had 34 shots for goal. So we just let our actions do the talking. I'm a free swinger. I'm a free hit. You guys know that.
Do you know what you're going to get from Richmond? They've been really up and down, and we're up and down in the course of one game at the weekend.
Well, we've seen them at their best, and they're really challenging. So they're striving for consistency, as we are. You know, we still had a few patches on the weekend. The competition's so even. So North, what are they? 7-4, and they were up on them by 6 goals, 35 points. So they're significant. They represent a significant challenge and opposition, and our best football is very good. So we need to bring that to give ourselves the best chance. And our whole focus is not so much on the opposition, but our football, and that's the way we're going to approach it. We need to improve, because we're in the middle of the pack, and the only way we can get to where we want to go is to improve our football. So that's our major focus, as opposed to who we're playing in the ensuing week. We'll prepare for them like we always do, but we have been really focusing on our football, which is really benefiting us.
How big a factor is the weather in your preparation and your selection this week?
Oh, no, we're not a big team. We're not super tall. We're a really athletic, mobile, hard-running team. We can really run and work. So, and we play really well in the wet. That's my view, and that's our players' belief. So we welcome any condition.
What are some of the danger areas of the Tigers that really need to curb?
Oh, like all teams, we've got elite midfielders, certainly Cochin, Delidio, Martin, elite power forward, and when they win the ball and they're going super quick, so you've got to be able to hold them up. And so, yeah, they represent the normal challenges. Most teams have all those sorts of threats.
Just on your analysis of them this year, are they a team that once you break their spirits, there's not much fight left in them after that?
I certainly wouldn't have said that, and I really haven't analysed them. I sort of, my stuff on, I finish us today. Evans, I wouldn't have thought so.
Were you pleased with the way your side was able to really pressure and overpower Adelaide in the second half?
Yeah, really pleased. I thought it was a strong performance with plenty of things to improve upon, but I thought we really ran strongly over the ground and competed fiercely. So they're good foundations, and we need to bring that again. Unfortunately, it won't help us when the ball's bounced. I wish it did, but it won't. So past results are irrelevant, but certainly we played some pretty good football, but it won't help us this week.
Just back on Silvani, can you talk a bit about his progression over the past few years? And obviously, he's a guy who hasn't had many opportunities, but what's his perseverance been like and attitude?
Yeah, well, league football's a tale of perseverance and struggles. So he's got a great character. He's very popular here. When I walked through the door, he was building his body. He couldn't do full training. Now he fully trains. He's built his body. And there's some real method. He was a desperate defender, but he's worked on developing a method and some skills, and he's really improved. So he stood up in a final for us at the MCG, and yeah, I got full confidence in Alex. So he's done a really strong apprenticeship.
How big an opportunity is this next month for him to really build a name?
I think he's built his name already. I think we really value him, and he's competing against some elite defenders in McFarlane and Johnson and Dawson. So his time will come, and it's coming now. And yeah, he'll just fit in seamlessly, is what we think.
Has Zach Dawson been asked to push forward a little bit more now?
Yeah, I'm going to play him full forward this week. He took an opportunity, pushed forward, opposition forward was napping, and he caught him out. So it was a smart play.